Welcome to the Quantum AI Coach podcast. I'm Gina, founder of Virtual World Coaching Academy.
Imagine you are running a marathon. Like you've been training for months, you have your pace dialed in completely, your breathing is perfectly rhythmic.
Right, you're in the zone.
Exactly. You come around the final bend, the finish line is right there in sight, the crowd is cheering, the tape is waiting for you, and suddenly
You just stop.
you stop.
Oh.
Without any warning, you just decide to veer completely off the course, walk over to a muddy ditch, and take a nap.
Which, I mean, it makes absolutely zero logical sense when you frame it like that. You've already done the grueling part.
Logically, it's absurd. Why on earth would anyone do that?
Yeah, the reward is literally steps away.
But if you are sitting there right now listening to this and thinking about your own career or your business or, I don't know, a massive creative project you've been putting off, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, definitely. People do this all the time.
You do all the hard work. You master the marketing funnels, you refine your offers, you grind through the late nights, you practically beg the universe for a big expansion.
Right, you want the success.
You really want it. But every single time you get dangerously close to that next big goal, you veer into the ditch.
The proverbial nap. Just a sudden loss of momentum right at the finish line.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Today we are bringing you a fascinating look into an incredibly eye-opening script we've been reviewing. It's on something called capacity architecture and, well, the neuroscience of wealth.
It's a really incredible topic.
It is. The mission for our conversation today is to figure out why getting close to our biggest goals so consistently triggers this baffling self-sabotage.
Yeah, the ditch nap.
Right. And much more importantly, we want to uncover how you can physically rewire your brain to actually hold more success without, completely burning your life down in the process.
What's fascinating here is that this material requires a fundamental shift in how we understand our own limitations.
How so?
Well, we are culturally conditioned to view these moments of sabotage like procrastination, sudden arguments, dropping the ball as moral failures. We think we're just lazy.
100%.
But the source material paints a very different, deeply biological picture of what is actually happening in those moments.
I want to start right there, actually, with this bizarre biological phenomenon the script highlights.
Yeah.
Let's say you are approaching a totally new financial threshold.
Okay.
Maybe you are staring down your first 10,000-pound month, or you're about to close a massive 100,000-pound contract.
A huge milestone.
Right, the milestone is literally right there on the desk waiting for a signature. And then, right on cue, things just inexplicably fall apart.
The environment suddenly destabilizes, often in ways that feel entirely out of your control.
Yes. You might come down with a sudden mystery illness that knocks you out for a week.
Or a key team member abruptly quits out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, honestly, you just wake up feeling this desperate, heavy, almost paralyzing urge to hide under the covers and ignore your inbox for 3 days.
Just absolute avoidance.
And the standard hustle culture advice here is always the same, right? Push through, grind it out, stop making excuses. I mean, I've always despised that advice.
You should despise it because it fundamentally misunderstands the mechanism at play. When you feel that immense crushing resistance right at the edge of a breakthrough, it isn't a lack of discipline.
It's not.
No, it isn't laziness. According to the neuroscience outlined in our source, your brain is actually trying to save your life.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me my body literally cannot tell the difference between achieving my wildest financial dreams and, being hunted by a bear?
Yes.
That sounds completely ridiculous. How is earning 100,000 pounds a threat to my life?
Well, to your logical brain, it isn't. But to your nervous system, it absolutely is.
Okay.
The nervous system doesn't understand money or prestige or, LinkedIn announcements. It only understands familiarity and unfamiliarity.
Ah, I see.
And it is hardwired to view the unfamiliar as dangerous. When you step into massive business growth, your nervous system isn't interpreting that as a reward.
What is it interpreting it as, then?
It's interpreting it as a literal threat to your safety because it requires you to operate outside of your established survival parameters.
Oh.
We talk endlessly about growth in the business world, but as the script points out, growth without the underlying physical capacity to hold it is really just a much more expensive, complicated way to burn yourself out.
A more expensive way to burn out. Man, that line hit me hard.
It's very true, though.
Okay. But if my brain thinks that signing a lucrative contract is a life-threatening event, what is the actual biological mechanism at play here?
Right, the mechanics.
Yeah, how do we go from enthusiastically wanting success to ourselves just screaming in terror when we finally get it.
To understand the mechanics of that fear, we have to look at the work of Dr. Stephen Porges, which the script references heavily.
The polyvagal guy.
Exactly. He developed polyvagal theory, which is essentially the science of how our nervous system assesses risk and safety. And a central concept within this theory is your window of tolerance.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is the window of tolerance, and how does it connect to stepping into a massive new business opportunity?
Think of the window of tolerance like a biological thermostat for your nervous system.
A thermostat. Okay.
Yeah, it is the specific bandwidth within which your brain feels safe, regulated, and capable of processing information. When you are inside this window, you can think clearly, you can connect with other people, you can strategize.
So it's my normal, calm operating state.
Right. Now, the source introduces a concept called quantum expansion, which happens when you take on higher visibility, larger contracts, or significantly more responsibility.
The big leaps.
The big leaps. And when you do this, you are drastically increasing something called your visibility load.
Visibility. So you mean the amount of external pressure, expectations, and literally the number of eyes on you at any given time.
Precisely. And here is where the mechanism kicks in. If your nervous system has not been gradually, intentionally trained to recognize that new, heavier visibility load as safe.
Oh, I think I see where this is going.
The sudden increase pushes you completely outside your window of tolerance. Your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, just panics.
Freaks out.
It instantly dumps a cocktail of stress hormones into your bloodstream and forces your body into a fight, flight, or freeze response.
So it's not that I suddenly forgot how to be a professional. It's that my nervous system literally tripped the power switch to my logical brain to divert all the electricity to my survival muscles.
That is an incredibly accurate way to describe it. You are experiencing overwhelm at a cellular level. It entirely bypasses your logic.
Wow.
Your prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part of your brain that desperately wants that 10,000-pound month, goes completely offline.
Because it's hijacked.
Hijacked by the primal part of your brain that thinks being seen by that many people means you are exposed to predators.
That explains so much. I mean, that is exactly why I can sit down to write a simple marketing email, something I've done 1,000 times. If it's for a huge high-stakes launch, my brain just goes blank, and I suddenly feel the urge to go clean my kitchen. It's the flight response taking over.
You are fleeing the predator, which in this case is the email draft.
It is so relieving to know it's just biology, not some deep character flaw.
It's just wiring.
But, I mean, a tiger chasing you triggers the amygdala. I get that. How does looking at a spreadsheet or a bank account do the exact same thing in the modern world?
Well, the source material actually has a great example of this.
Yeah, it shares this incredibly vulnerable story that I think perfectly illustrates how subtly and quickly this cellular overwhelm gets triggered.
The bank statement anecdote, it's a perfect case study of this exact mechanism.
Yes. So the author is sitting with a close friend, right? And this friend shows them their bank statement on their phone. The reason they're showing it is because a very large, completely accidental deposit had been made into the account. It was a massive sum of money.
Just a clerical error by the bank. It wasn't actually the friend's money at all.
Exactly. And logically, the author knows this. They know the money's in a stake, they know it's going to be reversed, and they know it literally does not affect their own life, their own business, or their own bank account in any way whatsoever.
Zero logical impact.
Right. But the moment their eyes register those massive numbers on the screen, they experience a sudden, sharp tightening in their stomach.
A visceral reaction.
An intense physical contraction. Why would seeing someone else's numbers, especially numbers that aren't even real, cause physical pain in our own stomach?
Because the subconscious leaps into action way before the prefrontal cortex can apply logic.
It's too fast.
Exactly. The script notes that the author's mind immediately flashed a very specific, urgent warning. The thought was, they are rich now, the power has shifted.
And that thought is fascinating because, it doesn't sound like typical jealousy.
It isn't jealousy, and this raises a crucially important distinction.
Okay.
We so often mislabel this physical contraction as envy or jealousy, which naturally carries a massive amount of shame.
Right, we think, oh, I'm a bad person for not being happy for my friend.
Exactly. But what is actually happening mechanically is your nervous system reacting to a perceived change in the social hierarchy.
Evolutionarily speaking, why does our nervous system care so much about social hierarchy?
Because for our ancestors, your position in the social hierarchy dictated your access to food, shelter, and protection.
Literal survival.
Yes, if the hierarchy shifted and you fell to the bottom, you might be cast out of the tribe, which meant certain death.
That's terrifying.
So subconsciously, when you perceive that a peer has suddenly elevated in status or wealth, even by mistake, your nervous system registers a severe shift in the tribal hierarchy.
Wow.
To survive this shift, your primal brain tells you that you only have two options. You must either shrink, stay quiet, and get out of the way to stay safe.
Or you must frantically overfunction, start working wildly, and prove you are still relevant to the tribe.
Exactly. It's just fight or flight, adapted for modern social dynamics.
That quiet contraction when you see a peer succeeding, or that tightness in your chest when you scroll past a massive success announcement on LinkedIn, everyone knows exactly what that feels like.
Oh, absolutely.
But the script goes even deeper. The author didn't just accept that this was an evolutionary quirk. They used neurobiological frameworks to trace that specific fear of shifting power all the way back to their own childhood.
Which is usually where our specific individualized alarm systems are calibrated.
Really?
Yeah, the baseline rules for what constitutes safety are written when we are very young.
So if the baseline rules are written in childhood, what was the specific rule this author's brain had coded about wealth?
Through their internal work, they realized that in their childhood, sudden financial shifts always equated to instability in the household.
Oh, wow.
A change in money meant stress, unpredictability, and a lack of safety. So the brain, simply trying to be efficient and keep them alive, wrote a permanent biological rule.
Which was?
When money dynamics change, my position becomes uncertain.
Wow. So their own subconscious was actively resisting their business growth because, to their nervous system, generating wealth literally equaled losing their secure place in the world.
And that is the absolute crux of self-sabotage. If your foundational internal wiring dictates that changing money dynamics equals danger, your amygdala will never, ever allow you to comfortably hold on to that new 100,000-pound milestone.
It'll fight you tooth and nail.
It will actively force you to burn it down. It will make you pick a fight with your best client. It will make you ignore crucial emails. It will make you sick.
All to artificially lower your visibility load and return you to the financial baseline where your nervous system feels certain of your position.
Exactly. You go back to what feels safe.
Okay, so this is a terrifying reality check. We are walking around with nervous systems that are subconsciously wired to treat our biggest ambitions as lethal threats.
Pretty much.
We have this outdated code running the show, tripping the circuit breaker right when we need the power the most. How do we actually fix it?
Well, there is a way.
How do we rewrite the code without just, shouting positive affirmations at a brick wall?
The source outlines the resolution using something called psychosensory techniques.
Psychosensory.
Yeah. These are methods specifically designed to process and release those deep physical imprints stored in the nervous system.
Wait, psychosensory. What are we actually doing here? Are we just thinking happy thoughts while rubbing our arms? What is the actual mechanism that changes the brain's reaction?
It sounds a bit abstract, but the mechanism is profoundly physical. Psychosensory therapies like EMDR, tapping, or havening use physical touch or specific eye movements combined with focused attention to directly interact with the brain's electrical signals. When you recall a stressful trigger like the fear of a massive new contract, your amygdala lights up. But by simultaneously introducing a comforting physical sensation, you are sending a competing signal through the vagus nerve directly to the brain.
So the vagus nerve acts like a physical data cable carrying a "we are actually safe right now" signal to the brain.
Yes, you are literally disrupting the fear loop. Oh, that's incredible.
The brain cannot hold the intense panic of the amygdala hijack while simultaneously processing the physical, sensory input of safety. Over time, this physically alters the neural pathways.
So you keep the goal, but lose the panic.
Exactly. The memory or the goal remains, but the visceral physiological panic attached to it is decoupled. The goal isn't just to think differently, it's to systematically train the physical body to feel safe, holding more capacity.
That makes so much more sense. It's not mindset work, it's nervous system regulation.
Precisely.
And for the author, processing this deep imprint led to a massive breakthrough. The script notes that through this psychosensory work, a new foundational truth finally landed for them.
And that new truth was, I don't need to be subservient to serve.
I love that.
Right. They realized they could be deeply relational, they could be respected, and they could belong to their community without having to shrink themselves or stay financially small just to keep everyone else's nervous systems comfortable. I really love how they phrased the physical result of this realization. They didn't say they became a completely different person or an aggressive titan of industry. They said, I didn't become someone new. I became uncompressed.
Uncompressed. It is a brilliant descriptor for nervous system regulation.
It's such a visceral image, like a heavy steel spring that has been held down so tightly for decades, finally just being allowed to release and rest at its natural full length.
That's a great way to look at it.
So what does this all mean? How does moving from a compressed state to an uncompressed state change the way we actually operate on a Tuesday morning?
It completely shifts the fundamental strategy of how you approach your own growth. The script draws a stark contrast between two distinct modes of operating: linear growth and quantum capacity.
Linear growth is the default setting for almost everyone, right? It's what we are taught in school and in corporate environments.
Yeah, the standard grind.
Just work harder, put in more hours, send 50 more emails, grind it out for incremental results. It's running faster and faster on the exact same hamster wheel.
Which is exhausting because you are constantly pushing against the immense friction of your own dysregulated nervous system.
You're fighting yourself.
You are fighting your own biology every step of the way. But quantum capacity is an entirely different paradigm. It is not about doing more tasks. It is about simply becoming a larger vessel. It's building a bigger wheel.
If I'm looking at my business right now, what does becoming a larger vessel actually look like in practice? Give me the concrete results of this internal architecture.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the business results are profound once this internal container is built, precisely because the friction is gone.
Okay.
First, expansion entirely stops feeling dangerous. That crippling anxiety you used to get before launching a new product or stepping onto a stage, it dissipates because your amygdala isn't firing.
Wow.
Second, visibility stops feeling like lethal exposure. You no longer feel like a fraud waiting to be attacked when you post a video or state your price.
Because your window of tolerance has expanded to include that level of visibility as safe.
Exactly. And third, you stop overfunctioning. When you no longer equate shifting money dynamics with losing your safety, you stop needing to micromanage everything to feel in control.
You stop doing everything yourself.
Right. And you finally have the bandwidth to start truly leading. You can look at much larger numbers in your bank account or, quote, a massive retainer fee without your stomach tying itself into painful knots.
You stop subconsciously sabotaging your own scale because the scale is no longer registering as a predator. This is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
But, if you were listening to this and thinking, okay, this sounds exactly like what I need, but I don't have a psychosensory therapist on speed dial.
Fair point.
Right. How do I actually start building this container today?
Well,
What the deep dive gives us a very specific, actionable practice to fulfill that need.
it is a remarkably simple exercise, but it requires a high degree of presence and a willingness to actually feel your own discomfort.
Here is the weekly practice exactly as it is laid out in the script. I want you to sit down in a quiet space this week and intentionally think of a number that feels, quote, too big for you right now.
Just bring it to mind.
Right. Maybe it is a seemingly impossible monthly revenue goal. Maybe it's the salary request you're terrified to make. Or maybe it is a significantly higher price for your core offering. Just bring that big number to mind and hold it there.
And here is the absolutely crucial nuance that the expert in the source material provides. When you hold that massive number in your mind, do not try to affirm the feeling away.
Right. No toxic positivity, no chanting, I am a money magnet, to drown out the fact that your palms are actively sweating.
Exactly. The goal is not to mask the biological response. The goal is to process it. Instead of ignoring it, simply notice where your body actively contracts.
So pay attention to the physical sensations.
Yes. When you think of charging double your current rate, do you feel a sudden tightness in your chest? Does your stomach drop like you're on a roller coaster?
Does your jaw immediately crunch?
Exactly. Just identify the precise physical location of the fear in your body. Sit with that contraction. Do not run from it.
And as you sit with that physical sensation, you introduce the new code.
Yeah.
You speak directly to your nervous system. You tell it, we are safe to be seen. We are safe to hold this.
You are intentionally communicating safety to the exact cells that are currently sounding the alarm. You are slowly, manually stretching that window of tolerance.
We are safe to be seen. We are safe to hold this. I really love the gentle authority of that phrasing. It's not aggressive. It's reassuring.
It's very grounding.
You are literally building the internal architecture of a millionaire identity, one breath at a time. Because at the end of the day, true capacity isn't about your income level. Your capacity is entirely dictated by your identity.
That is the core thesis to take away from this entire exploration. True scale, whether in your business, your art, or your career, requires building the internal biological container to safely hold it.
You can't just force it.
No, you cannot just grind out new marketing funnels, hire more staff, or force a massive launch and expect to sustain a level of wealth that your own nervous system genuinely believes is going to kill you.
You cannot run high-voltage electricity through a low-voltage wire and expect the house not to catch fire. You have to upgrade the wiring first.
Exactly. And this leaves us with a truly fascinating and somewhat intimidating implication to consider.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if our nervous system's window of tolerance dictates our financial ceiling so rigidly,
Yeah.
what other areas of our lives might this biological mechanism be actively limiting?
Oh, that is a heavy question. If it applies to money, it has to apply everywhere.
Think about it. If our brains will actively sabotage our financial success simply because the visibility load feels too high or unfamiliar, might our brains also be actively sabotaging deep, vulnerable romantic relationships?
Wow.
Or moments of profound, quiet daily joy, or true, uninhibited creative freedom?
That's entirely possible.
We have to ask ourselves, are we constantly veering off the course and into the ditch in our personal lives, not because we are broken or unlucky, but simply because we haven't yet trained ourselves to tolerate that much goodness?
Are we actively rejecting joy just because the sheer weight of it feels unfamiliar to ourselves? Man, that is a profound thought to end on, and one that is definitely going to stick with me.
It changes everything.
It really does. You have given us all a massive amount to unpack and observe in our own behaviors today. We really want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, the next time you see that finish line approaching and you feel that sudden, inexplicable urge to take a nap in the ditch, take a breath, locate the physical contraction, and gently remind your body that it's finally safe to cross the line. We will catch you on the next one.
So when Gina offered me the opportunity to do this, I jumped for it because I think anything that you can do that is going to chip away at these limiting the beliefs of things that hold you back is really, really worth doing. So it's been a really lovely experience, and if anybody's a bit worried about it, just do it, because the opportunity to connect through havening is really, really powerful. It's really, really powerful.
But really helpful, I think, in terms of having that kind of guided process just to kind of let the ideas and the feelings and the images flow, and then try and work out what it actually means afterwards, and to come up with, and it made intuitive sense. It's really, really helpful to then kind of have that debrief of, okay, what can we actually do with this stuff? Because that's where we tend to get stuck, is kind of like coming out of it going, oh, this is all some really interesting ideas and thoughts and feelings and images. But yeah, then, you know, how can we actually harness them to do something different? And I think that's been really, really helpful in terms of clarifying really what I need to prioritize to go forward in a way that will deal with some of that stuff that came up.
I would like to point out that I'm actually a therapist myself, and sometimes therapists also need a therapist. So I was really stuck, and then one day a friend posted a link for Gina's wealth and money attracting short course, and I went, this sounds great, I'm just gonna book it. And I loved it so much. I really had an epiphany on that course, and it was only meant to be a demonstration, and yet it was really it just opened up something, possibilities that I was stuck before, and now like, ooh, I can use this to unstuck myself. I'm a great believer that when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you appeared at the right time. That's all there is to it. So, you know, if anybody's watching this video, it means Gina has appeared in your life. So please give it a try.
She walks where the sky meets the sea, a calm in the cave.